folks. Welcome to the Media Booth. My name is AJ, and thank you so much for joining me on another Media Booth. Y'all see the title. And just to remind y'all, if this is your first time watching the Media Booth, what we talk about here are just like, I guess, imagine that I'm a part of your media ministry and we're pulling together and we're having a little meeting to talk about the ups and downs of what we got going on here. And yes, it might talk about technology sometimes, but mainly it's about mindset and some of the things that we deal with that most people don't talk about. It's real easy to talk about technology, but it's kind of working with people is the more difficult thing. There's no manual. I mean, outside of the Bible, but there's no manual to deal with people on a day-to-day basis. So, and that's what this is about. So, y'all saw the title. It's Play Your Position. This is something that I am very transparent that with y'all that I am patient, but my patience has limits. And I work to develop that patience to be more and to not allow situations and people to get me frustrated. But I am only human, and humans, or let me put it this way, church folks can get you frustrated. I think one of the things I've noticed is it is very easy for, especially when it comes to media ministry. I've been in music ministry since I was 13, either playing or directing choirs or teaching choirs for a long time. And just like with the media ministry and the music ministry, most of the time this is a volunteer army, meaning that you're trying to work and get people together to do a collaborative thing, but you don't have the power to fire them and get rid of them. But you have to be able to get everybody in one accord. Now, some of the difficulties I've seen in this in both aspects of ministry is either people in the ministry or people outside of the ministry feel that they know how to tell you how to do whatever role that you have. And I think the issue is, and I'm so glad that I just woke up, and this episode is very much delayed because I've just been running around, but I say I'm glad I'm just waking up because then I don't throw all this fire when I say this. It's a lot of people that can always tell you, but it seems like a lot of people, and hopefully it's not you, can tell everybody how they should be doing something, when if you focused all your energy on working on your position, you don't have time to tell people what they should or shouldn't do. I have a lot of people, unfortunately, who want to jump ministries and start jumping in and putting their hands and touching a whole bunch of stuff when they have no idea all the aspects of what it takes. Like, I've had people in my past who are not good at public speaking, talking in front of crowds, anything like that, but then they want to tell me how I should teach choir rehearsal. And I'm like, first off, you're tone deaf, you don't play an instrument, you don't sing, you've never led a ministry with a bunch of other people. So I am always the student, but I am very careful of the advice that people give me. Like, I said this to my mom. My mom has been a nurse for 36 years. And I said this to her. I said, Mom, would you ever take advice from me on how to, take an IV or set an IV, or I don't even know the proper term for it, but put an IV in somebody's arm? She's like, no, AJ, because you don't have any experience with that. I've done this for 30 years. I'm like, okay, Mom, would I take advice from you? Should I take advice from you on how to run a business if you've only been an employee your entire life? All of a sudden, now it's like, well, I have some valid points. Let's go back. I might have had some valid points about that IV, but I don't have any experience in it. I don't understand. To me, with an IV, it's like, oh, I just got to stick it in the arm. But there's other aspects to it. Hey, make sure that the vein is this. Make sure you put it correctly in the vein. You just can't put it in the arm. You got to put it here. There's a bunch of details in it. So that's why I say, hopefully this is not you. If you have all of these opinions on how a ministry should be done, I solicit you to, instead of putting all your energy in telling everybody else how they should be doing something, perfect your craft. Master your position. I was taught a long time ago, unasked for advice is criticism, and nobody wants to be criticized. You know, and you could say constructive criticism all day long, which is good. But again, if the other person has not prepped or welcomed you in, unfortunately, human nature normally would take that as a negative. So when you come up to somebody and say, "Look, let me give you some advice on how," most people didn't ask for that advice, you know. And I know it sounds harsh, but we have to be really careful of how we deal with people. The technology is easy. We talked about that. But you're dealing with people. You're dealing with people's egos. And you could say ego is bad. No, ego is a self-esteem for yourself, as well as, ego is like how you feel about it. You don't destroy that, because if you destroy somebody's ego, you're literally inviting an enemy or making an enemy in your team that can undermine everything. Again, we talked about this before. One of the essential books I read in business a long time ago, and it is very beneficial in ministry, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. That is a very, very, very good book. That's what you need to worry about. And then more importantly, like, I didn't have time. Like, it's so funny. I do this from a music standpoint. It's so funny to hear at choir rehearsal that I'll have people talking about, like, oh, the tenors are saying, well, the sopranos are not singing the right part. I'm like, dude, how about you just focus on your part? Like, why don't you get your riffs and runs straight and make sure you're singing actual tenor instead of singing soprano an octave lower? Like, it's so interesting that I don't know why it's human nature for us to always want to correct everybody else when we have flaws ourselves. What's the scripture say? Like, why, and I'm paraphrasing this, why are you so concerned about everybody else, the splinter in somebody else's eye when you have a beam in yours? And I always heard this, well, that's the other thing. It's like, we can work so much better together when we perfect our position instead of wasting time trying to, or I say this to our group, I was like, look, a shieldman makes a horrible swordsman. A swordsman makes a horrible spearsman, meaning that they have their dedicated roles. Again, I'm trying to be real nice when I say this, because I've experienced this, currently experience this in different aspects in business, ministry, and everything like that. I'm like, dude, I'm not the non-PC way. It's like, dude, just play your field. Stop coming over here and trying to think you know what it takes to do what we do or what I do, when you have absolutely no idea all the other stuff that gets tied into it. So, for example, just like when I talked about the IV, hey, I just think it's just putting this on the bag, hanging the bag up on the little rack, and then sticking it into somebody's arm. From a high level, that's what it looks like, but there's more detail. Or like for me, the media ministry, you just press the button, you use the joystick to move the camera around, you move the volume up, that's it. No, it is way more than that. I need to set the mix for the sanctuary and the live stream, and then boom, that's it. No, that's not it. It's an active role. There's some things that when we set our live stream audio and we set audio inside the sanctuary, that is a live process that's going on all the time. Hey, just moving the cameras. No, that's not just a set position. There's, you might have to change this. Hey, the lighting changes. If you have windows inside your sanctuary, we have to adjust for that. Oh, the internet is not good today. We have to adjust for that. Oh, this platform is down. So again, if you don't know, if you're not a part of the ministry, you have no idea all the other stuff that's done. So instead of trying to jump ship, how about perfect your craft? Because how much better is the ministry when you are firing off on all cylinders? Your batteries are fully charged. You're functioning. You have become skillful in your field, instead of trying to jump over here. Like, I say the same thing to every every pastor I've ever been associated with, where I was head of the media ministry. They named me and I said, Pastor, I will let you know everything that needs to know when it comes to this ministry, but don't set foot inside of this media ministry. Not in a rude and disrespectful way. I was like, you put me over this area. So you focus on being a pastor. I will focus on the media stuff. I will bring everything to your attention that you need, but you do not need to be involved in the media ministry at all, because you already have a role in what you're doing. And I want you to be focused as the pastor and not pick up a whole bunch of stuff that you have already delegated somebody else to do. Or other ministries. I know you're a great usher. I know you're a great usher, but just because you're a great usher does not mean that you need to be involved with the music ministry and tell them how they should be doing stuff. Unless you are also serving in that music ministry. In other words, play your field. If a bunch of us, like, I'll use me for example. I do music and I do media, but right now my role is not in music at Signs and Wonders. So that's why I don't get involved with music unless they ask me, hey, AJ, can you play this Sunday? Hey, AJ, can you sing this Sunday? That's when I come in. If I'm not functioning in that role, I leave that to the people in that role, meaning that I am mastering my position instead of trying to waste my time telling everybody else what they should be doing with their position when I should be focusing that energy on perfecting my craft. So what do y'all think about that? Do you deal with stuff like that? If you do, how do you deal with that? If I'm off base, hey, this is a learning environment on both sides. Let me know. I am open for correction. Now, see, I'm inviting a critique of what I'm saying instead of just firing it off. But anyway, I hope that resonates with you. I hope that encourages you. The guys, like, you are so great at what you're doing. Focus on, I know this sounds selfish, but it's true. Focus on you. Focus on you perfecting your craft, because when each of the soldiers perfect their skill, the Army becomes better. And I can't believe I said the Army. The Marine Corps becomes better. When every Marine focuses on their skill, their craft, their MOS, their job, their responsibility, whatever it is that they need to focus on, that makes the unit better. We're as strong as the weakest link. If that link is too busy focusing on the other one instead of trying to strengthen itself, you've weakened the whole group. If you're focusing all your attention on pointing to another ministry, telling them what they should be doing, and you haven't gotten your stuff straight, you're compromising the entire ministry. So again, work on you. Save all that energy on finding how you can become better, because that will grow the ministry instead of pointing fingers, telling everybody else in cross ministries and everything what they should be doing, especially when you don't know what all the details it takes to do what they're doing. So I hope that resonates with you. Thank you for joining me on the media booth, and we'll be catching you on the next episode, folks. Later.